Hello, my name is Wilkinson. I'm from Future Gen Solutions, and this afternoon I'm actually going to be talking about our topic is navigating the generations, the 40s and the 50s. In that age group, what are the things, the tips and traps you need to do to be successful at that time of life? So today I'd like to talk about that specific time in the 40s, and it's what we would term the high responsibility time. Usually by the 40s you've cemented your career position, profession, whatever you're doing, you're actually on the career progression upward, but at the same time you're carrying more and more responsibility. At that stage you've usually got a mountain of debt because you've bought the home which the family might be raising the family in, and essentially you're trying to work your way through paying that debt down, whilst at the same time you're now facing the situation where children you might be giving them the choice of actually going to a private school. So you've got that situation happening, and often by your late 40s, early 50s, you've got a situation where elderly parents might well be retiring or changing roles, and the role there is changing in terms of your relationship. Where previously you sought advice from them, there comes a time in life where they start to seek advice from you, so the roles do start to change. Additionally, particularly as you reach 50s over here, you've probably got children who've reached that stage where they've gone through school and they're now going to university. And as we know, university isn't a cheap way to go either. So, the time of the 40s and 50s is a time of increasing complexity. And it's a question of how do you deal with it, and more importantly, how do you deal with it but still enjoy the journey? And that's one of the hard questions, the vexing questions. How do you enjoy the journey and put it all together, have it all? Well, while today I can't talk about necessarily having it all, what I can talk about is some of the things you need to be basically concerned about, and more importantly, ticks in the boxes of things you need to basically have arranged, have put to bed. So the first thing is that in your 40s, you'd normally be in the situation where you've actually set about and you're hard on the way of actually building equity in the family home. We're big believers that the family home is one of the first assets you get under the belt, and essentially if you can own that family home, will be a long way down the track towards owning it. It forms the asset base that you can leverage against in the future, particularly if you're looking at other investments in your 50s or 60s where you might need to use the equity in the family home. So that's important. Protection, and when we talk about protection, we talk about the life insurances, particularly income protection and basic life insurances. They're very important because you are in that high responsibility time of life, and any financial plan can be massively derailed, particularly if someone gets sick or has an accident and can't work. So the protection aspects are usually at their highest point around now at this time of life. So that's a big one. Around the 40s, we're really getting people to start to think about their superannuation funds. And often there's some protection built into these superannuation funds, but we're looking upon superannuation as being that vehicle of wealth creation. In Australia, there's a $25,000 concessional cap that you can put into superannuation and claim it. One of our first ports of call is to see in this age group whether people can afford to put the $40,000 into superannuation, because yes, it's a very tax-effective savings vehicle, and that's the first port of call for building wealth. So superannuation is important. And usually at this time too, we're actually looking at the estate circumstances, because you've got equity in a family home, you've got maybe you're building your superannuation, you've got protection by the way of life insurance. So having an estate plan in terms of where the money goes if anything was to happen becomes dreadfully important as well. So the estate plan takes on greater significance. So it is the 40s, it certainly is the 50s too. The difference in the 50s when the kids are leaving home and you've broken the back of building that equity, then it allows you the opportunity, the situation where with that extra cash flow you can consider other options. What are those other options? Usually those other options about certainly maximising superannuation if you haven't already done so. It could well be that you consider another property. We often don't advocate to clients that they take a coastal property, unless there's a lifestyle preference involved, but generally it could be another property which is capable of generating income and certainly capital growth. Or it could be that people take on a portfolio of shares as an extra string to their bow in terms of how they're going to build wealth. So hopefully today what I've tried to do is give you some ticks in the boxes, as it were, about where you should be as a guideline for that time of life and what are the considerations you should be taking into account. So hopefully I've added some value. So thanks for now, and we look forward to speaking to you next time.